Hey, I'm Joanna O'Connell. Welcome to The Road to Cannes, a Beat TV series presented by Freewheel. I'm here with Sharb Farjami, the North American CEO at Wavemaker, and like many in the industry, he is wrestling with how best to bring more data-driven thinking to the television advertising ecosystem. Thank you for being here, Sharb.
Thank you for having me, Joanna.
So speaking of TV, let's just start by talking about the state of the TV market given the time of year it is. Will advertisers be more conservative this year in the upfronts, just kind of given the will it, won't it nature of today's economic climate?
There isn't really a black and white answer to that. It completely depends on the advertiser. It depends on what their needs are. I'd say there is uncertainty, but there's probably more certainty around that uncertainty, maybe than we've had the last few years with COVID, etc. So if things aren't going to be so good, advertisers are more cognizant and aware of that, and they can make plans for it. That said, I think that perhaps the economic headwinds aren't quite as bad as we think. I think there is some more positive consumer sentiment than we think. But if it is going to be bad, I think there's also an argument to be had for advertising in the face of economic headwinds, because if there is uncertainty, consumers tend to gravitate towards brands that they trust, and a core tenet of trust is consistency. So maintaining a presence during those times is critical.
I 100% agree. I want that to be true.
So do I.
So I'm sure you do. Do you actually truly sort of see that happening with your advertiser base?
Yeah, again, advertiser base is probably too general for us to look at, and we've got such disparate client bases. I think every client is going on some form of transformational journey. So even if you do have to pull back or cut back, it's an opportunity to test and learn, try different technologies, different products, different data sources to try and optimize your approach. And again, it depends on what your competition's doing and all sorts of myriad of other things.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, you said sort of certain in the uncertainty. To me, what that means is you're seeing more resilience in your clients?
I think everyone and everything is more resilient after the last 3 years. What I mean is, for example, supply chain issues.
Sure.
So a lot of that came at some of our advertisers and the industry at large out of the blue. People just didn't know, and it's hard to sort of plan for the unknown. A lot of that has dissipated, a lot of that has gone away. So if there are uncertainties, it's more around economic sentiment, consumer sentiment and spending patterns. That's different to whether or not you can get products to make the things that you're putting on shelves.
Okay, so then let's shift a little bit to consumers, since you just left us there. Opportunities to innovate the ad experience itself. I mean, certainly as TV is becoming significantly more digital, more flexible, more fluid, more changeable, how do you sort of think about the opportunity to optimize the consumer experience itself in advertising?
I think it's not just the responsibility of TV. I think it's the entire industry, from media to creative. If you think about the tools that we have at our disposal now, tech, data, various different approaches to creative, it's miles beyond what we've had in the past, and therefore everyone has a responsibility to improve the ROI for brands and therefore the consumer experience. I think if we were to take one thing from a GroupM perspective, it would be clutter. Clutter's a huge issue for the industry at the moment.
Indeed.
So frequency, etc. So I think the less is more approach is important, and for that you just have to put the plans in place and to have the right rigor around how you're going to market.
It's interesting because I'm an ex-agency person, and sometimes the best laid plans, you still run into kind of traditional client thinking about what they are supposed to do.
Yeah.
So how do you sort of work through that? Less is more could feel wrong to them when they sort of have an expectation of how much they should be out there.
I think, various ways. I think one way of doing that is connecting the full funnel. So when you're thinking about planning, traditionally brand and performance have almost sat in a brand versus performance perspective. I think it's brand and performance now. The fact that there's such a high opportunity for every brand in the world really at the moment around their D2C and commerce journey, that you have to connect all ends of the funnel. And I think if you do that, you can bring a bit more clarity and consistency to your measurement all the way through that funnel, and hopefully some confidence to your advertisers. That said, extraordinary growth sometimes comes with a little bit of uncomfortable change.
Indeed.
And there is that provocation that you sometimes need to reflect the ambition and the opportunity versus maybe what has been before.
So maybe speaking of, let's talk a little bit about the pitch environment right now. It's pitch season is in full swing.
Is it ever not?
You would know, wouldn't you? It's probably a big part of your life. If you could say to a potential client, this is what I really want you to think about and look for when you're making a decision in a media agency, what would you say?
compatibility, congruence with your ambitions, and to be clear about what your ambitions are. So probably the best example is a conversation I had recently with one of my favorite clients, I mean, all my clients' favorite, but a particularly favorite client of mine who I'm close to, who said, we're trying to go on a transformation journey. We're trying to change how we operate and how we work, not just locally, but globally. The last thing we want is for you to reflect us. We want,
I love that.
we want to reflect more
Yeah.
your approach and the things that you're seeing. You're the experts in this space. And I think that's an example of clear congruence. They're telling me what they need, they're telling me what their challenge is, and they're telling me what they don't want. I think sometimes if you go into these review processes and there isn't, clear clarity on all sides as to what the outcome and aspiration is, then that's where it can get a little bit clunky. But by and large, I think make sure that you're clear, going in with an open mind and absolutely transparent about what it is you want out of the process, and that's where you get the best outcomes.
So I wonder, is it fair to say that a partner mentality over a vendor mentality is baked into that notion?
100%.
Yeah, and do you feel like...
I don't think anything else survives.
I mean, again, totally with you. Do you feel like that is the environment we're in right now, where people are coming with more of a partner mentality, clients?
Yeah, I think a lot of clients are coming with that. But,
good.
the responsibilities on the agency side of the industry as well.
Sure.
Sometimes we have default patterns of behavior as well, where we are acting like a vendor or a service provider as opposed to a partner. So, that's a cultural shift. And I think, to be honest, COVID wasn't good for a lot of things, but one thing that COVID did maybe as an outcome provide was that closeness with clients. You had to work in a partner mentality, and that resilience that you referred to earlier.
Yeah.
Hopefully that serves for stronger partnerships moving forward.
Okay, so now let's talk about a challenging experience that you've had, like the most challenging campaign you can think of over the last year that you had to sort of wade through, and how'd it go?
I would be kind of disappointed if any of our campaigns weren't in some way, shape, or form a challenge, and that's
that's
kind
fair.
of the attitude that we should bring. I think probably the most exciting challenges are where transformation's involved.
Yeah.
Every client's going on a form of transformation, but I think being really clear about what that North Star looks like and making sure that there's a clear thread through every campaign, through every deliverable, through every outcome to that North Star. That's where you create that that slight tension, that slight discomfort that I referred to earlier. That's a challenge. Well, basically, there are lots of clients in the new economy space. We work with a lot of new economy brands, and that's always challenging. Moving into established markets or trying to change markets is always a challenge, but the commensurate reward is kind of worth it.
Being comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Exactly.
Being certain with uncertainty.
Yes.
There's some themes here I'm feeling, which feel appropriate because the world is in flux in so many ways. Consumer behavior's in flux.
Yeah.
The economic situation is open and in flux. We're right on the edge of Cannes soon on the French Riviera. We will be celebrating the magic. That is right. Behind us, there'll be yachts, but also great ideas and great thinking. So can you talk a little bit about what you're sort of excited about, the potential for seeing, big themes or topics you're looking for?
Well, I think that there is a new exclusive to media agency category this year is particularly exciting for me. I think, and for the entire agency industry on the media side. I think that's a great thing. I think that will provide an opportunity to see more great media thinking and work. Last year Cannes was great. It was the first time back. It wasn't quite at the scale, and there was varying levels of attendance. I think this year's you're going to see on all sides more people. So I think it will be the truest opportunity we've had in the last 3 years of an event like that, where you can really see great work, talk to some great minds, see, what's happening on other sides of the world, and have those kind of communal discussions and opportunities to learn. And I'm excited about the Martinez rooftop, which you can probably see here somewhere, because that's where GroupM, in fact you can. That's
right on.
That's where GroupM will be having all of their sessions. So if anyone can make it, please
Shameless
come.
plug for the GroupM Martinez rooftop. I personally am excited that the Carlton's going to be open again.
It is.
I have missed the Carlton.
It is.
Just quickly before I let you go, a media category, media agency category, exciting, I think in part because, media is more rich and complex and fragmented and exciting and evolving than ever. Yes?
Yes, 100%.
And I love that, but it's also a little bit terrifying. How do you help clients navigate the should they, shouldn't they, or how to approach that complexity effectively?
I mean,
I know it's hard.
huge question. I think you have to embrace it. I think you have to embrace all of the things that you're referring to, and all of the change that's happening is all as a result of, you know, furtherment in technology, furtherment in data, new ways of working, new opportunities to partner in different ways. You just have to embrace that. You have to embrace the change. You have to be open to working in a different way, and you have to be prepared to test and learn. And you know, sometimes the quickest way to work out if something was the right approach is to try it, and then if it didn't work, you can try it. And I don't mean that in a dismissive, callous manner,
you're right.
but you do have to push yourself.
You should learn regardless whether
Absolutely.
it succeeds or fails, right?
Yep.
You have to always learn. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
I will look forward to actually seeing you in Cannes. In the meantime, I
Likewise.
really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Joanna.
Thanks, Sharb.